Who's feeling quirked up in here? Nobody?
Those mints are crazy. I had like 10.
Someone check on this guy. 10 is intense. But yeah, give it up for these guys. Let's go. All right, so real simple. I mean, let's just go through and give some quick intros so everyone knows who's here. Starting with you.
Yeah, so my name's Miles. I'm from Pennsylvania, and I sell stuff on Amazon and tweet about it way too much, post on Instagram a lot about it. And then, so along with the Amazon store, coach program, and then a SaaS that helps Amazon sellers basically, and it all just kind of feeds through the personal brand.
I'm Nick. I started in the theme page game, used all that traffic to start building personal brands through my agency, really transitioned into coaching personal brands now, and I kind of build my own personal brand. Not that I post enough, but that's kind of what I do.
People ask me this kind of shit, and I don't really know what to say sometimes. I do a lot of different things. Professionally, Nick and I are partners in Launch Socials, and we help people like really do content right with their personal brands. I also own a fitness company, Untapped Athlete. Other than that, I just like chill in Atlantis and weaponize autism. I don't know. A few other things on the side.
All right, Daniel. You guys all know me. This is my concert. 100K on Twitter. Just started YouTube. Best YouTube channel on earth. And honestly, it's pretty exhausting, isn't it?
This is going to be a shit show. You shouldn't have put him up here, too, because that's just encouragement.
Yeah, I should have thought twice about that.
I know you guys are all big on Instagram. Like, you guys all, like, he doesn't have one. That's from personal choice. I'm actually just banned forever. so I would have one, but, you know, I'm not allowed to.
That's why he moved to Hinge. They kicked him off the platform.
Yeah, so talk about that, actually. Platforms, right? That's always an interesting question to start, is like, if I'm trying to build my personal brand, like, where do I start? Do I pick one? Do I pick a couple? Do I go on all of them?
I think you pick a type of thing to do. You know, it used to, when Instagram was old Instagram where pictures actually worked, that was my thing. But now short form content's really the thing. So to me, you either pick short form content or you pick writing if you're gonna pick something, you know, to start with.
But basically any Twitter, any singular tweet can be turned into a video,
Correct.
though, and any video can be turned into a tweet. So there's really no reason to not actually be doing both.
And the way I like to think about it is the way you write tweets is those really just turn into your video ideas. You can go make videos about them. But that kind of leads into a different conversation that Logan and I have a lot with our clients. And that is, oftentimes when people go and try to make a video, right, it comes across really scripted, or I'm trying to do this certain hook, I'm trying to do this certain thing, whatever. And frameworks and formulas are really, really good. And it's good for a beginner to do that. But when you start going to that next level, and Miles does this really, really good because he's making YouTube content, he's live streaming and doing that all the time. When you start to go to that next level, just riffing and just off the dome type of content where you're just saying things, and you can see it on our podcast all the time. We just kind of say things and they get turned into clips, and those things do really, really good. And I think that's what builds the bigger connection with an audience rather than more scripted, formulaic style content.
Yeah, and I would say too, everybody here is from Twitter, and I think Twitter's a great place to start. It served me very, very well, but it's low effort, and there's a lot of things where you can multiply your leverage by getting your face on video. It's just a layer deeper of a personal connection, and I know all of you guys are Twitter guys. That's where I started, but I'm gonna really, really encourage all of you to get the fucking camera out.
And your competition won't do it.
Yeah,
They won't get
so
on the
many
camera.
people are afraid to just get on video.
Yep. Like, we all try to grow, and if you posted one video a day of your face talking on Twitter, you would get better results, and your competition won't. But for some reason, most people just won't. But pretty much everyone that wins does.
And one of the things on the point I was making, you look at guys like Tate, you look at Kanye, you look at all these people, they just go on podcasts or they go on interviews and they talk. And they say outrageous things and they get clipped and used. And it's their personality and that the fact that they're actually an impactful person that creates an impact rather than I'm going to go film this selfie video even though you really have nothing to say.
I mean, you could do some interesting things. Like I know Connor Sunderland and Brooke Hiddink,
Yeah.
they just get on a one-on-one call and record it and just find clips from it. And you guys could literally just find some other person who runs the same business as you, and then you just sit there and riff for 30 minutes, and now you magically have like 45 pieces of content.
Yeah, so that's so we've been talking about that a lot because those are actually we have a few of them here today
those
too.
guys are our clients.
Guys that work with both of us, with what you guys do, what we do, and that's something that we've realized too. It's like, because I've been putting out content for so long now, and there gets to a point where you do start using like this formulaic shit, and everybody's thinking like hooks, all of these tactical things, and in reality, if you took the frame that you would take if you met someone in person, or if you were out at the bar with your friends, or you're doing these things, and you took that raw approach, the energy within it is going to have so much more impact because it's not you trying. People can feel that shit. There's a very real kind of, man, I don't know it's like kind of esoteric the way that things perform based on the energy that you put into your content. And I think that the fastest way is to do that is, like moving forward, what I'm going to be doing to, I have somewhere probably close to like 85,000 combined audience, whatever, is going to be just like, I'm going to film YouTube rants for 60 minutes a day, and whatever that turns into, it turns into. And one framework that I like to think about is, how would you make the videos if you were on the Zoom call with your clients? What would you say? Because ideally, like, that's probably going to be a good framework for the people that you want to attract on the front end.
And the tonality, the conviction, and everything
Yeah.
is just naturally on point. You don't have to force it or be excited about something you're not really excited about to make a sale.
I think there's something to note about, like, you have Cam who follows you around, I have Scott who follows me around, and then we just end up with so much raw footage. We end up with so much raw footage, and it's that naturalness is just baked into it because they're following me around and I'm just doing what I would otherwise do anyway. And that is inherently why people find it interesting in the first place, because it wasn't performative. It was just simply how I existed in the first place. So it's like you might be sitting here and you might think that like you don't really understand your voice yet and you don't really find it. I mean, if you like scroll back to May 2020 on my Twitter account, I haven't deleted the tweets. It just probably looks dumb. And then you gradually find out like how much of my personality can I release and channel into this, and then you kind of just find it. And then like one day your business is big enough and you have someone who follows you around full time, and then you have like 6 people on your team whose sole job is to produce an absurd amount of content for you. But you find Twitter's a really easy place to start it because you can just straight raw dog video selfie and like just do that and talk shit, or just tweet. And then I mean you can get over to TikTok, but they're kind of. Have you ever seen the Associates podcast clips? Oh my god, I think you have like maybe 13, 14, 15 clips of me on there, and just like the dumbest shit ever that they comment.
Let's talk about that for a second. And the fact that we have 10 to 15 million views on that on like all platforms, we only have a few thousand followers between TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, it just kind of shows you that it's the content that matters, and these short form algorithms are your advantage right now, and to take advantage of those and start using them. And those are all just clips off the dome, just randomly. None of those are scripted. We didn't script those out. It's just clipped from the podcast, and it's just good pieces of content that's relatable, and the energy and the tonality and conviction, etc. It just matches up because it just works. You know what I mean?
Something you guys kind of notice if you like look at people who have like bigger Twitter accounts is they kind of just talk shit and they like troll a lot. So you should just do that because it's funny, and then people follow you for that. And it's kind of like.
Well, sorry, not to cut you off, but I thought you were stopping for a second. Go ahead, finish. Sorry.
It's just, I mean, you'd be talking shit if you're sitting there with your boys anyway. So just treat your audience as if they're all your boys in the first place, and then they will begin to think they are if you speak to them like that.
Well, one thing that, sorry for that little interlay, but one thing that I wanted to, Andre was like, what do you guys want to talk about when you're up there? And like the big message that I would give a lot of you guys as you start to, you're going to need to do content now. Like, it's just the reality of the situation. You know, all of you guys, how many in here sell an offer that makes someone money? Fucking all of you, right? So everybody is here to make money, and there's really not that many ways to do it on the internet, right? You're either like getting leads or you're improving the conversion of those leads. Like, there's really not that many mechanisms. And so a lot of you are in here and you're trying to build a brand around, whatever that mechanism is. But the thing that you're missing is you're focusing so hard on that, but you have all these other interests, right, in your life that make up who you are, and you're trying to build this money-making brand, but in reality, if you utilized all those assets that you have that make up who you are, like if you, for example, have one of these offers and you love jujitsu, and maybe you love reading books, and like you could be fucking anything, I don't know, but talk about that stuff, because ultimately that's going to bring in people, that's going to become top of funnel traffic for your personal brand. And then if you're good at what you do and you just display that, now you start nurturing those people in, but you can connect on these interest demographics based on the fact that you do like that thing. And wow, oh, this prospect who would be the perfect client for you also likes that thing. And now you guys share an interest and have a commonality, and then your expertise can kind of flow through. Like, I feel like so many people in this room could probably instantly double their audience if they just actually were not afraid to be fully who they are on the internet. And it's something that, if any of you guys have followed me, has served me really well to just be myself and really give less fucks overall.
I think there's another point to note that basically everybody in here sells an offer that has to do with making somebody else more money. So inherently, if you make like a TikTok or something that has to do with that, it's just naturally it might not get a lot of views. And a really good example of this is Connor Sunderland, who just makes videos about Klaviyo email marketing. How many e-com businesses, people who own e-com businesses, are sitting on TikTok? It's like in aggregate, like actual total, it's probably like 250,000 people. And he might not get views for everything, but algorithms just have some way of sending it to the correct people. And so Connor's getting like 300, 400 views on his videos, and like he just signed some big brand from it.
Also on that note is, if you're doing cold outreach, cold DM, whatever, people are going to find your social media. And if you have the content there that speaks to that audience, whether it's getting organic views or not, it just shows that you're an expert.
And the timing on it too, when people can watch you grow up and everything like that. You can see like 2019 podcasts I did and stuff like that, and then they get to know you, and then they get on a sales call. I've been following you for 2 years. They're taking out their credit card. You know, they've seen you grow and everything, and that qualifies you so much. And it's so low effort because it's one to many. We can record a selfie video, and whether 500 people see it, 500,000, it costs the same to make, and the time, and just that goodwill compounded over time. It lets people learn from you and everything. And also too, that we haven't really brought up yet, every year I've shared more and more. I get more details on what I give away for free, and it just skyrockets the amount you make because people want not just the information but the accountability and all that.
Yeah, a question I have for you guys is, like, you talk about consistency, and how many threads have you written?
52 days.
52 days straight of writing a thread on Twitter. That's pretty. It's like, that's impressive, right? So like 52 straight days of writing a thread, right? Consistency. I've heard that in like almost every panel and keynote today, right? And so I'm sitting here and I'm just getting started with personal branding, and I'm staying consistent. I'm putting content out. I'm making videos, and I'm just not getting the traction, right? Nick and I talked about this. Like, how do you know when to pivot, or if your content is working, and what do you do? Because it's not just consistency, right? You have to also be putting out good content.
Studying what other people are doing. Look at how they're doing things. Look at what Daniel's doing. Look at what Logan's doing. All that, you aggregate these different things, then apply them, and this hit, that didn't hit. But when you do it long enough, you start to realize, and then you can start repeating stuff, and then it really hits. Like, it was so much easier to do a daily thread than like 3 a week. It's not even close. And then,
That's
right?
so true.
I wrote a thread. It was like the 3 best niches for beginners. It hit, put it on Instagram, 2,000 likes on there. It's like 4x what I normally get. Made a YouTube video about it then too, and then a short. And that's like 4 things for one idea, and then I can repeat that next month, and so on. Because the information's still true. It just, I can give the new followers a chance to see it and all that.
I would say for someone that is, doing the work and staying consistent and trying to grow their personal brand and is not working, the big thing to me is distribution. Like, a lot of people make solid content, but they have no idea what they're doing in terms of actually distributing it. And that's a huge piece of it. I mean, it's, we're up here in the fucking tracksuits, the associates, like that. We've grown that podcast to 20 million views in 2 months. We have 15 episodes published, right? It's the distribution. And so if you're new, you probably maybe are writing solid content, but you're not distributing it properly, right? And a lot of that, when you're starting out, is going to come from you building relationships, and not building relationships so that you can grow your content, but building relationships so that you actually want to be friends with this person, right? Not transactionally. You just actually care about what they have to say, and in return, you provide the value that where they also care what you have to say, right? And so a lot of people post this stuff, and then they just expect it to go out and I'll have 10,000 followers next week. Like when I started, I was talking to so many people online, and like it's basically like making friends on the internet. You guys could all, if you gamed or whatever, go in there and build relationships that way. And again, it comes very informally. But if you're trying to grow and you're not doing it, you probably need to talk to more people and build way more relationships outside of anything to do with your content. Just actually talk to people.
Yeah, like throwing out retweets, follows.
Yeah.
I'm trying to meet
Hell
everyone.
yeah.
I want to talk about there was a when I first made my Twitter account, I made it in May 2020, and it must have been like July or August or something, and there was one singular thread I made that just showed such a raw degree of competence that I feel like that was that exact moment where I was kind of like accepted. I remember because I was invited to Money Wave directly after I made it, and what it was, it said, reply to this tweet with a niche, and I'll show you how to scrape their email addresses. And I sat there for like 5 hours. Like I was doing screen recordings and screenshots, and people would just keep replying over and over and over and over again. I just kept doing it.
But that doesn't scale. That doesn't scale.
It doesn't.
It doesn't scale.
But you only need to do it once, and then it was magically like because I must have had like 2,000 followers or something like that, and then it was like people like Rogue Wealth. Like he messaged me. He's like, I like this a lot. This is really cool. And
I
then,
probably bought Cold Email Mastery for $35.
you probably did, yeah.
And the way you get traction is doing that. And a lot of people, because I'm the guy that handles a lot of shout outs on Instagram in the money making space. That's what I've done for the past 3 years. All those theme pages and stuff, that's me running those, right? And
Business driven dream. Let's go.
to a milli.
And in that game, like a lot of people love to buy shout outs. They love it. Oh, what will I get if I do 20K, 50K shout outs? They'll come to me randomly. And it's like, well, is your content even good? Are you actually making an impact now? And that's why it's important to go and make those connections first to see if people are actually resonating with what you're saying before you drop a bag on paid shoutouts. Because oftentimes people will come to me and they'll be like, I want paid shoutouts. I'm like, dude, your content's just not good enough. You're going to waste 20K. So that's important. That's a way to scale, but it's not a way to start and get growth immediately.
I found on Instagram people just love buying biz ops, just like trading.
Dude,
It's the biggest thing on there.
I've interviewed a couple people, from Instagram that have like bought courses and stuff, and they all say, "Oh yeah, I bought like 5 or 6 different things." And there's a lot of those, business gurus and stuff, and it's all the same buyers.
It's really interesting too because everyone on Twitter, like a lot of so many people in this room probably don't even maybe they have a personal Instagram, but they're not putting out the same degree of content promoting themselves on IG. And I'm telling you right now, Instagram is so much better for
Selling.
Yeah,
When
Twitter is so fleeting. You have a good idea on Twitter, it lives for 2 hours or maybe a day if it's really
And one of the
banger.
reasons it's so good for selling is because of the stories and DMs. You actually build a personal connection with people, your followers, and then they can talk to you in the DMs, and it's the sales cycle there. That's a whole other thing we can get into, but it's just easier to sell.
I find it was like an aggregator. There was a lot of when I wasn't banned, I would. And people would message me, and you could just send back voice messages, and it was like it felt like an aggregator. Like they came from Twitter, and then it was like kind of more personal on Instagram, and then they would convert
It's also
like
great
that.
for female acquisition.
Yes, for sure.
Another. You want to go real quick?
I don't even remember what the question was.
Oh, you're good. Another question I had, when I was first getting started, one of the things that really changed things for Christian and I was Daniel saying basically to have an offer, right? And I was always concerned on how early on in building my following should I try to sell a product? Right?
Immediately, you get more followers if you sell something.
Exactly. So talk about that. When do you introduce an offer?
Good.
And how important
I have
is
a quick point on that, and I don't think it's just about introducing an offer. I think when you introduce an offer, you start to talk about that more, and it's like a singular topic that you talk about, and then people start to associate you with that. And we talked about with Kaval, right? Everyone knows him for SEO. Well, it's because he sells SEO, and that's what he talks about. He's just known for that. And I think Miles for Amazon now. When Miles niched down and went just Amazon, people just knew him for Amazon, and it's because he's selling that specific product that he only talks about that.
If you sell something, and you make it clearly apparent you do so in your bio, the kind of people who follow you are the kind of people who purchase something. It's that simple.
Yeah, like there's all these accounts on Twitter writing like the Google Sheets threads that they get like 100,000.
It's so stupid. It's like, what is the purpose of that? What are you selling?
Yeah.
Do you know that there's this girl on TikTok and she makes Google Sheets videos,
yeah,
and she
right.
sold like
She's making
20
racks.
million
Yeah, courses.
of like an Excel course. It's like so ridiculous.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's intense. I mean, like, not really sure what to do with that information, but I'm like, okay.
Launching an Excel course.
Yeah, I can. Excel course master.
I think that is really interesting. As funny as it is, it's with personal branding, like people, you have to be congruent. Like whatever you're putting online should just really be raw you, and that's a perfect example. If you follow Daniel on Twitter, like that is Daniel, right? And there's a lot of people that try to, I think, put these things out there for they try to present a certain image, and it just doesn't work. Or maybe try to tone certain things down, and I just think you should be like these conversations, especially when Daniel lived in Miami, like that's what we would do. We would go to the pool and like, hey man, what are you doing? Like how are we gonna scale this to $70K a month? Like what'd you put in the Client Ascension funnel this week? How's that working? Like things like that. And it really is, you have to be exactly who you are, just raw, unfiltered, to the point. And I think you'll get so much better results.
And the people who cap like never last on Twitter. People always find out. Like if you've been around a year or two, it's like once a quarter someone gets exposed or something like on that. They just don't.
It hasn't
last.
happened in a while.
It hasn't happened in a while. Yeah, they will though. Someone.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
I think we should start.
All right. Not gonna start any beef here. I don't want to be held liable. Another question that comes to mind is like, what's something that when you first started, you were doing that doesn't work any longer, that has been replaced by something that now works? Because things change, right, in this industry.
a great
I feel
question
like it's
for
just
him.
keeping up with the trends.
Who?
You.
Yeah, so I grew all my Instagram pages originally through just picture posts. That was it. It was a straight picture, like in the business niche, infographics, etc. Nick Abraham out there knows exactly what it is. We were growing the same pages, right? And that's how it worked. And now it's really, really switched to short form content. Reels are brand new. TikTok's brand new in the last couple of years. Short form content's even on Twitter now. Like all you guys on Twitter, you should be posting short form content on Twitter now, because that scroll feature, it's here and it's here to stay, and it's gonna just get even more integrated into the platform. So for me, it was figuring out for the theme pages, like how do we at scale, mass scale, post short form content, or how for my personal brand and the personal brands of my clients, how do we post short form content at scale? And we've really figured out that formula now, but it took like 6 months to really get down. Now we have a lot of things automated. We have a couple special things coming that I can't talk about up here that aren't like ready yet. But yeah, it's that iteration. It's like short form content now is like the wave, but I'm sure that will change. Like we got VR and AR and all that stuff coming eventually. So while the wave's here, I mean, you might as well jump on it.
And like, there's nowhere to hide anymore. Like, you gotta get on all these anonymous guys. Like,
and it's so easy to post, because if you're posting on TikTok, it's the same video format as Instagram, as Twitter, as Facebook, as YouTube Shorts. You might as well just post it everywhere.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, for me, not that much has changed. When I first started, it was like, I don't even know how many people would know what this even is, but it was like Bapsphere, right-wing bodybuilding, like hella schizo, just all over the place. And I was just fucking off having fun. I was just like working online while doing it. Twitter was fun for me then. And I think that's important, just to start off. And, you guys talked about selling an offer. Like that does happen. I also do think it is really useful to just build the genuine relationships. It definitely helped me starting out. And so I kind of swapped that. And the one thing I would say that, with that question, that's the only really thing that's changed, is maybe I've toned down the craziness compared to like pandemic log fits. But the one thing that still works, and I would really encourage, is like people aren't vulnerable enough, I feel like. And just probably it sounds like just repeating myself up here, but being vulnerable, just really sharing things that other people won't. If you have the balls to post what other people won't, like for me, you probably know if you follow me, like have an affinity for like fat ass white girls or, far right Latinas, right? Like, it's funny and no one else has the stones to say it, but if you do, you automatically gain so much traction. I'll just say it.
I mean, yeah.
I'll say it. Yeah.
The response is there. Yeah.
Miles?
Anything?
I honestly, I kind of just do the same thing, since back in the day, to be honest. It's always been just Instagram, tweeting as much as possible. And one thing I do want to note, we're all getting on YouTube now. We had the official Conquest announcement the other day.
Yes, we are waging war
on everything. And we're all so worried about the editing and all that stuff. But how do we get going on Twitter? Tweet. If we all just started, you start and then you figure it out. And everything, you find your voice by doing it, not by thinking about doing it.
You should talk about you posting it on YouTube and what that's done for your brand and I think sales on Instagram, because obviously Miles, well, not obviously to you guys, but Miles and I work together for his Instagram. But talk about that and how sales on Instagram have picked up as you've been super consistent on YouTube and how that's grown.
Yeah, so I've taken a little break the past 2 weeks, but I've been 3 times a week since February on that, which is a lot, but it's really not a lot when you're making Loom videos, screen recordings, and stuff. But yeah, it just adds an extra layer and that people can go and hang out with you and stuff. What do I do in my free time? I binge YouTube videos, of course. They're going to be watching stuff. They might as well be watching me and everything. It's what other people won't do. You can add so much goodwill to it on all that. And it's just really what other people won't do. Bro, picking up the camera for the first time 4 years ago, what am I doing with my life? What are my high school friends gonna think? Why are you making these videos and everything? And it's the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah, a lot of the personal brand stuff really is just entrepreneurship. I think is such a good vessel for self-development, but the personal brand stuff is maybe that on steroids, because you're forced to publicly kind of confront anything that is you don't feel is what it should be. You know what I mean? You're forced to improve yourself so that you feel good about sharing it publicly. And it just absolutely rail volume, because it'll make you a better person and it'll make you more money.
And it gets you to the end goal quicker.
Yeah,
too,
absolutely.
Definitely.
So as a last note to wrap up, you guys talked a lot about how you ended up here and have had success on social. If you could, give everyone a lens into what you have in the cards for maybe the next 3 to 5 years, what's the plan, Daniel, to conquest YouTube, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Miles, you want to start?
Yeah, so I love the idea of vertical integration. I saw Daniel have the cold email course, right? And then the SaaS companies came, and now Client Ascension. I've kind of just copied what this dude does in a different vertical and
Simple.
stuff. But I sell stuff on Amazon and then made a course around it, and then realized Nick told me coaching programs are better. Started doing that. Took ownership in a software company that helps Amazon sellers. So now it's this full little ecosystem, right? That's all around this one very, very niche topic. And I don't need a ton of followers to do well when getting back to offers, when your monetization structure is correctly and you have stuff for different people. And I know that I'm going to be doing this for a while, and it lets people get to know me. And the key is that now that I've been doing it for a while, they can go back and look at the early days on that stuff. These paid ad guys that have never done anything organically, if they get an ad account shut down or it gets turned off, that's it. There needs to be something you're doing that compounds so that people can go back and see those early years. And it's just fun, for the future, definitely.
Yeah, so for me, I think there's 2 main things. One for me is just be everywhere, get on camera more, record, and take advantage of the short form for my personal. But then 2 is I've really transitioned out of the agency game. So I know all of you here for agencies, right? You have agencies, but I've transitioned from agency to coaching because I can help a lot more people and we get better results. So instead of people outsourcing their growth on Instagram to me, now we help people build in-house teams for their entire social media content on every single platform, right? And we coach them on how to do it, how to start your offer, how to actually get traction, right, if you're a beginner. And that's my big focus, and I want to build that to hopefully an 8-figure company with Logan. We're partners in that, and eventually sell it.
Yeah, and so obviously that's that, and we're partners, so I'm not going to repeat that. What I will say is, we the podcast that Nick and I do, which we've talked about a couple times already up here, has really opened my eyes to just what kind of scale is possible. I hope all of you understand the once in a lifetime opportunity that you have with YouTube Shorts, with TikTok, with now Twitter bringing video, with Instagram moving to Reels. If you want to talk about a fucking force multiplier, you have a once in a generational opportunity to create wealth by putting out quality video content if you can get good at it. And so that, to me is mastering that, because I didn't come from the marketing world, right? Like, I was just this right-wing character posting like bodybuilding information and health stuff on Twitter, and it just morphed into this thing. I really became a marketer as a byproduct of doing that work. So yeah, just absolutely slamming out content and being the best in the world at it, and continuing to build my fitness company too, because I love that stuff, and propagating tropical fascism. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And one note on that short form content that we talk about a lot is you guys can post short form content all day, but if it's just not good and it doesn't make an impact and no one cares about it, you will not grow. You can post 30 videos a day and you will not grow. It actually has to be good. You probably have to talk from experience, so you need to go experience life a little bit before you try to start building your personal brand, or experience something, be an expert at something, have a little bit of substance, rather than just being like a 17-year-old kid that's out of high school and just like starts making videos. It's not going to work.
Yep, and I would say too, like, Dickie's presentation was amazing for that. That was such a good, such a good content. Give a hand for Dickie. That was fire. Like, he laid the playbook out for you. It's all worked for us. We're sitting here telling you it's such a big opportunity. If you don't go back and take that and fucking run with it, you're stupid or lazy or both. And that's it.
People will sometimes ask about like an output goal. Like, where do you want Client Ascension to be in a year? I'm like, I don't know. I just make an input goal. So it's like, all right, where do you want to take YouTube? It's like, I just want to have 100 videos. And then you iteratively find out what you have to do on each video. How do you increase the click-through rate? How do you get people to continue watching it? How do you get more people to book a call from the video and actually move them forward in the funnel? So I don't really have output goals. It's just simply make 100 YouTube videos, then make it 200, then make it 300, then make 50,000 tweets, and then make 1,000 LinkedIn posts, and maybe throw like 6 of these events over the course of a couple years, and then go on 50 podcasts and just apply fucking force.
Jimmy Giga Chad.
Jimmy Giga Chad, like Chad Rammer.
Do you know how many tweets you have lifetime?
Like 14,000 or something.
14,000?
Yeah, it includes replies though.
That's it?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
not a lot.
That's super interesting.
Yeah, I know.
I was thinking about it. Like, it was really the volume thing. I was thinking about it because I really started doing Instagram like this year, and it's like 10K now this year, and have kind of figured it out. And obviously partnering up with Nick helped a good bit. But I was looking at it, I was like, damn, like, this shit's fire. Why is it not bigger? And I looked at it, I was like, 120 posts. And then I look at Twitter, which is probably going to hit 50K soon, today, whatever. And it's like 40,000 tweets. And it's like, oh, well, that makes a fucking lot of sense, huh? So just, absolutely crank volume.
Like, I have 1,300 posts on Instagram, like once a day for 4. It'll be 4 years in January.
Yeah, just more input. So to wrap it, Miles, you talked a lot about like studying game film, right? Like watching other people in the space, and that's actually what I did this week to kind of prepare for this event, because this is the first time we've ever done anything like this. So where can everyone in the audience follow you guys? Because this is probably good game film to watch for them.
Yeah, so it's Flips 4 Miles, all platforms, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever else ends up coming up.
Nick RGRS at Nick RGRS on all platforms.
Roger Bird.
Mine is LogFitz6, so LOGFITZ 6, all platforms.
Cody Mo Wizard on Twitter, Daniel Fazio on YouTube.
All right.
Don't have Instagram.
Let's give it up for these guys.